What up, though, family? I'm back once again. Jumping right into it. It's Monday. I do this every Monday at 9 p.m. Central Standing Time. And you know I love to get it in with the family. I love to do this. It's a passion. Right here on GPTV1 Uncut. Tonight feels heavy in two different ways. On one side, we lost Lil Poppa, a young artist, 25 years old, with a whole life ahead of him. And when you hear a story like that, it hits you in the chest. It forces you to slow down and ask, how many young men are carrying pain nobody sees? How many are fighting battles in silence? So before we talk headlines, before we talk anything, I want to talk about that, about the pressure, the expectations, the weight that never gets spoken out loud. It's a really deep situation, and I do want to speak about mental health on this live stream. And then across the border, another headline drops. Mencho, the leader of CJNG. CJNG, gone in a military operation. That's not just a crime story. That's a geopolitical earthquake. That's a shift in power that affects the border, affects the U.S., affects the entire region. Two stories, two front lines, and somehow they're connected by the same thing. Systems that fail people until someone breaks. So let's talk. Let's unpack this together. Drop your thoughts in the chat. I'm going to read everything tonight. This is GPTV1 Uncut. No filters, no fear. Those are two deep stories, and it affects everybody. Mexico has been going through a thing over there, and there's some people trapped over there too. Right now in Mexico, because of what happened to this leader. But we're gonna talk about that. But right now, I want to get to Lil Poppa. Right now, I want to shout out to the people on Twitch. Mad shout out to y'all. Gained a couple of followers over there, so I really want to thank y'all for that. I'm live right now on YouTube and Twitch. You're listening to the replay. It's your first time here. Click that like button. Click that subscribe button. Click the notification bell. That way you get notifications for whenever I drop a new episode. But Lil Poppa. You know, this story right here is really, really deep, and it's just been on my mind, folks. It's been on my mind, family. Because mental health is a serious issue. And a lot of times we look at these podcasts and whatever and don't know what these people be going through. And sometimes we may not think that celebrities and artists and stuff are not real people. These people are real people, and they go through real things. And you know it's going to be speculation on what really happened to them, but they got confirmed reports on this situation. But before all of that, I do want to send my condolences to this guy's family. It's a sad situation, and we always want to add the human nature to this program. So my condolences to the family of Janarius Wheeler. He died at 25 from a self-inflicted gunshot wound confirmed by the Fulton County Medical Examiner. So it's confirmed reports that it was a self-inflicted gunshot. This isn't gossip. This is a young man gone. And it sent shockwaves. It sent shockwaves. Even Yo Gotti himself came out speaking on the situation, and Lil Poppa was signed to the CJNG label. I heard a little bit of his music, and a couple of songs I heard, he was speaking about life, how it was to live almost Tupac-ish, almost. So I want to go to a news report, credible news on this story. Stay with me, fam. Let me share my screen. So we got this story. And who is this coming from? NBC News. Florida rapper Lil Poppa, and I believe he's from Jacksonville. So my condolences to this guy. And I looked at a couple of his videos. He looks, he don't look like a wild person, I would say that. Florida rapper Lil Poppa has died, according to Georgia Medical Examiner's Office. He was 25. The Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office confirmed the rapper's death in a statement to NBC News, but did not provide further details. The cause and manner of death are under investigation, the office said. So they gotta investigate this situation. I've seen an actual video news report on this. I had a video of this particular story. There's a lot that happened that weekend in Jacksonville. 11 wounded in 3 Jacksonville area shootings in 2 days. Jacksonville be off the chain, man. A lot of these stories coming out of Jacksonville, queso, Fulio, and that stuff, man. You know, it be off the chain down there. They say just like the hood of Florida. That's what some people say. I've been there myself personally. So let's check out this news report right here. Let me see, fam. Let me change my screen right here. Cause I did find a news report on this situation. So let me share my screen over there. Like I said, there's a lot going on in Jacksonville over the weekend. Let me push play. Oh, well, over this 2-day span. I don't know if that was over the weekend. What does it say? It doesn't say the weekend. But anyway, let's play. Let's see what they're saying.
They expect to give us a date into their investigation later today. But here in Jax Beach, 4 people, including 1 minor, at a music festival Saturday night. Now, police say thankfully all 4 individuals are expected to recover. But right now, investigators believe the shooting happened after a fight among teens escalated into gunfire. Investigators believe there may have been more, but no arrests have yet been made. Now let's head over to the east side where an early Sunday morning shooting happened. Investigators, people were having a party to honor the life of the late Jacksonville rapper Lil Poppa, who died last week in Atlanta. 4 people were shot during that party, and police say they are all expected to survive as well, but they are still looking for a suspect.
Over there.
And the 3rd shooting happened in Mandarin on Sunday. Investigators found 1 person shot in the Lowe's parking lot on Old Field Crossing Drive with life-threatening injuries. A 2nd person miles away in his car at Old St. Augustine Road.
Let me fast forward some. There's some stuff going on in Jacksonville. One woman
where the shots rang out, and she says,
let me fast forward to some, family.
To get a cart for the dog, and I heard something that sounded like backfire. Basically, it seemed like a few people, but a guy was running towards us,
there we go.
But they do ask that if anyone has any information for any of the 3 incidents over the weekend, you call them.
They ain't saying nothing about that guy on this particular report. Let me. But no, they don't anything in that particular report. But so many people have been talking about it, and they gave them a chance to talk about mental health. Situation right here. I had a chance to interview a mental health therapist on a podcast one time. I got a lot of listens to that podcast. That was like my top podcast. I always say get some therapy, because sometimes it takes more than just have a religious or spiritual belief in something. You know, sometimes you just need to get some mental health therapy. Now, I think so many people just skips over that, or they're embarrassed to get that, or they feel like something's wrong with that, or it just may fix their brain. I know some people, they got some serious mental health issues, personality disorders, and some people learn how to live with those conditions, so they feel like they don't need the help. But then on the flip side of that, the doggone hospitals and people that's in that industry, they're overwhelmed with mental health issues. So it's been confirmed that this guy passed away from a self-inflicted wound. There'll probably be some conspiracy theories that probably float around sooner or later. But why do that when you have confirmed news reports? Hold on, playing in the background, this news report. But there was a lot going on in Jacksonville. So apparently this situation happened with this guy, happened in Georgia. But he's originally from Jacksonville. Jacksonville. Let's go to Instagram and check out his page. I found it to be interesting. I want to share that with you all. Let's go to his Instagram page. I don't know if this is his official page, but it has 1 million followers, only 8 posts. And he's following 3 if this is the original page. Let's see, 4-2 Dub. I see D Rogers out of Alabama. What up, though, to D Rogers? Shouts out to D. My Kim folks down there, go to his YouTube page. He's an artist. Moving around in that game. Go check him out. That's my guy for sure. So 4-2 Doug is follows this guy. Of course, they're on the same label because 4-2 Doug, I think he was CMG. And this guy, Lil Poppa, probably was on his way up. Because one of the podcasters say he had never really just heard of the guy. But if you look at the actual thing that he's saying on here, it's only Instagram. You get some booking information. Then it says, first we were born, now we suffer, then we die. The end. That is a deep statement right there. But again, if this is his official page, that's a deep message right there. It says a lot within itself. First we were born, true. Next we suffer. I don't know about that part because I believe life is up and down. And I believe that everybody is due to a point. Everybody is due to have a down point, a downtime in their life, including myself. That don't mean you have to be broke, necking it out of doors. You can just be going through something mentally. You know, something just may not be working your way. Some way, somehow, we all gotta feel a down point in our lives. So when we suffer, We suffer. I've been through depression and all that type stuff. PTSD, I definitely got PTSD. Like, who from the black community don't have PTSD? I think if you from the black community, hell, you born with PTSD. So we all got that shit naturally. So we have some points in life where we suffer, but life shouldn't be about suffering. And then we die. So the middle part of the life, he's saying that's a suffer. Then it's the end. That's the end. They say he dropped a video. And let's look at some of the comments. I'm not gonna be able to play. I can't play the music because of the copyright stuff. So this is supposed to be his music last video before he passed away. And they're like short clips, and I think he posted TikTok. He's like TikTok, where you get the fast turnaround on the videos. But go some of the comments. I think the name of this song was Out of Town Bay. And again, I can't play the music. And here go some of the comments. For those who don't understand what this video is all about, let me break it down for you. Somebody claim they know what the video is about. I can't even get to the rest of the comment. Anyway, they love you when you're gone. R.I.P. brother. 800K when they announced it. Now it's 1 million followers. Shake my head. They don't love you till you're gone. Oh my God. OMG. OFC, you got 1 million followers. Now you was just at 941K before it all. They only love you when you're gone. So apparently, you know, that's what happened when artists pass away. You know, their numbers started going up. Their music started selling more. They merchandise started selling more. The views and all of that stuff, it started going up. But that's only for a brief time, and then it dies down. And his true fans will always be in their playlist. But when they die, the numbers always peak out. They're going to jump. So weird when your followers go up after you pass away. Now everybody feel your pain in music and want to bump your ish. All of a sudden now that you gone. It's a cold, cold world that we live in. Boosie voice. I can agree it's a cold world we live in for sure. Motown to Barbara, that's the D-Town, Motown. First we're born, next we suffer, then we die. I wouldn't encourage people to adopt that particular message. They say this reel by itself got 284 comments from Facebook. So that's some of the comments on Lil Poppa and him passing. That's on Instagram. That could be an emotional weight on people. And there's a lot goes on in the music business. You got touring. You got to have constant output. Like, you got to come up with those hit records. You got to make those records land. Shouts out to the people on Twitch. I want to thank you for joining me. Shouts out to YouTube. And shouts out to IG. Y'all got to catch me tomorrow night for GPTV1 Intel. I do that every Tuesday. That's when I pop in for like 10 minutes and I give some commentary on what's going on that particular day. Then you got GPTV1 Open Files on Thursday. That's when I debut a GPTV1 original. Be the first to see it. That comes on Twitch and IG. So I'm sticking to a regular schedule. Lil Poppa, this story really bugged me. And it broke like a few days ago. A lot of people already had spoke on it. And I wanted to save this story for this live stream and talk about how important it is about mental health. And some people just don't want to deal with it. I know some people, they need some real mental health. Like, you ever felt depressed? Like, I went through depression, and I'm telling you, you feel like you're in a black hole for sure. You ever been depressed before? You probably got PTSD too. It would seem like this young man had it all coming to him. Had a bright future, only 25 years old. But man, sitting in that doggone room and you feel like there's nothing going to work. You feel like bad luck just following you everywhere. Like everything you touch, you just feel like it's going bad. You feel like nobody's helping you. Everybody against you. But I figured out why I was so depressed, because I was around a bunch of other depressed people. Like everybody else depressed. That shit made me depressed. So once I got from being around that depressing crowd, way back in the day, that was a long time ago for sure. I've been past the post-depression. But once I stopped being around the atmosphere, then I finally realized these motherfuckers depressed. Causing me to be damn depressed. And I haven't been like that since then either. And I haven't been back around that type of atmosphere either. So you can be around a bunch of other people and they look happy, but they depressed behind closed doors. But I've been there and done that. You get to be my age, you get to see a lot of stuff. Depression is one of those things I went through. And then when you get depressed, you start using drugs, drinking more. I know when I was getting depressed, I'm trying to get to the store and get me a beer to deal with that depression. I need a beer right now. I need to light me up something. But that's how I felt when I was going through depression. I felt I needed a beer. But as an artist, you have to have constant output. There's a lot of pressure, man, because you got to keep coming up with those hit records. Touring, financial pressure, online criticism, family expectations. You see what Gorilla going through. I listened to this story about Moneybagg Yo just earlier today. This guy made a real thorough video about how Moneybagg can't come back to his city and all that type stuff. It's incredible what people wish for other people. So you got family expectations. And it's just a Black community. They're not known to be going to seek out mental health therapy. It's not a general conversation. A lot of people avoid that shit. They don't want that stigma that they went and got mental health. It's some great shit. I mess with it. I listen to a lot of philosophy and all of that. That's how I keep my mind sharp, not what's popping in the streets and all that. I'll be aware of all of that. Many artists come from trauma, survive trauma, and then are expected to perform through trauma. Yeah, in a high pressurized city like Jacksonville, there's plenty of trauma around there. The industry rewards grind culture, not vulnerability. Yeah, you gotta be hard to be a rapper. You gotta be gangster with it. Use Lil Poppa's story as a moment to say, we can't keep losing young Black men to silence. That's deep right there. Then, you know, the little story just broke. About 4 people were shot at the memorial gathering for Lil Poppa in Jacksonville. It shows how violence and grief overlap in certain communities. It's time to talk about cycles like trauma, silence, tragedy, retaliation, more trauma. I encourage you to check on your folks. I invite you to share your own experiences in the comments. Talk about real human costs behind the headlines. Really, really deep. Click that like button, click that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. You feel a little generous, hit me on the super chat. You feel like you want to donate something, you can hit me on my Cash App. You can hit me on my Chime. Tomorrow night, Tuesday, Intel Files. Coming live on Twitch and IG, Instagram. You can follow me on Facebook, GPTV1. You can go to IG, GPTV1. I drop a lot of information and stuff over there. A lot of interesting clips, and it's a rebranding of the whole GPTV1 ecosystem. And I'm loving it. Thursday, live on Twitch and IG, GPTV1 Open Files. Every Monday, GPTV1 Uncut live stream. Let's get over here to this other story. I had to get into this story with Mencho. It just lit, man. My page up, YouTube notifications when this guy passed away. Yeah, we all dealing with the same systems. And that's what it's all about. 2 stories, 1 broken system. And it's people down there trapped down there in Mexico. Stuff started erupting down there. I've been talking about this stuff, and it definitely intertwined with the Shadow Empire documentary. This is the Shadow Empire. This is what it's about. By the way, the documentary dropping next month. It's coming. It will be accompanied with a narrative audio, full album. It go for about $15. We got a nice bundle package will be coming with it. But this story right here intertwined in what I was talking about. Global power. And stories like Lil Poppa slide up under the radar. They come flood you out with all of this, and something like Lil Poppa may get swept up under the rug. But this story right here really just started lighting it up. I said, man, that's what the documentary is about. Let's check and see. Let's get some updates on what's actually going on over there. And they say it was a military operation is what happened. So we're going to check out something when it comes to this story that I really to it. I like to look at stuff when it comes to global power and geopolitics. The stuff flies over people's heads, especially from my community. They may not be paying attention to stuff like this, but I do, because the stuff like this affects people in my community, because a lot of people survive off of their trade. It's how a lot of people eat. And Trump say, look at these people like terrorists. So, yeah, you represent the cartels, especially if you're the boss or alleged boss. Yeah, they consider you a terrorist. They may bring a military operation. But I still say the people that move the money around, they don't even bother with them. They're going to bother with somebody like him, but not the actual people who moving the money around. Nobody bothers them. Y'all got to check out the Shadow Empire documentary. Matter of fact, go over to the Shadow Empire YouTube page and check out Love for the Money narrative audio video. I got a couple of more coming. And we got an animated series coming with that too, by the Silent Order, which are the voices musically of the documentary. But anyway, let me share my screen, family. This stuff gets deep, really, really deep. Share the screen. All right, let's see what they're talking about. They're saying that Americans trapped in Mexico after death of cartel leader. And this is from Fox.
Continuing to track the violence breaking out in popular towns around Mexico after the death of one of the country's biggest cartel leaders. Americans are still urged to shelter in place. Fox's Jillian Turner has the latest.
Tourists in Mexico are facing a second night under State Department shelter-in-place orders for Puerto Vallarta and surrounding areas. This after Mexican security forces took out the leader of the notorious Jalisco cartel known as El Mencho.
It is up there with Sinaloa as being one of the deadliest cartels and one of the main produce fentanyl that traffics onto U.S. streets.
El Mencho's henchmen responded by taking to the streets, killing dozens of people and setting the city ablaze.
Man.
Stores, gas stations, roadways, all burned.
It was surreal.
All burned down.
Going to the airport and we're dodging burned out cars in the middle of the street.
Flights area were grounded.
There's no coming in and out of the city unless you own a vehicle.
Mexico's president is urging calm.
The most important thing at this moment is to guarantee the peace and security of the entire population of all of Mexico.
Meanwhile, Mexican officials are disclosing new details on the operation.
Through military intelligence work, we located a trusted person of one of El Mencho's romantic partners who transported her to a facility in the town of Tapala, Jalisco. At that location, she met with El Mencho.
Mexican officials plan to arrest El Mencho there, but he opened fire and fled to nearby woods where he was later found.
El Mencho came out. They left behind a group with a large quantity of weapons. It really was a very violent attack.
He died from gunshot injuries. The White House says the U.S. played a vital role in the operation. Trump officials, quote, provided intelligence that Mexican officials relied upon.
He promised to stop the flow of fentanyl, secure the border, prosecute and go after the cartels. Part of this is working with our allies like Mexico.
Tonight, Aeromexico says the company hopes to resume their operations gradually, but the State Department...
So they saying that El Mencho fired on them first. And his henchman is basically burned the city. I don't know if they'll do that stuff over here, but that's Mexico. And it affects y'all guys out there. Y'all going through a lot of stuff. And usually stuff like that affects the prices on the streets. But they say the streets are so over flooded, it don't even matter about the price. That stuff is actually cheap. Stuff like this is supposed to make the prices go up. Really, really deep. They say he opened fire on them. Just like that's their life. The narco lifestyle. That's that life. Let's see what's going on. Let's get another update on this particular story. I'll be following stuff like this. I'll be looking at a lot of stuff, you know. I don't just be looking at my hood all the time, but stuff like this affects my hood or my community, I should say. You definitely do. Let me share my screen, family. Let's go to the next update on this particular story. Let's get some sound going on. This is GPTV1 Uncut every Monday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. You're listening to the replay. The replay, do me a solid. Share this live stream and click that like button.
Chaos erupting at a Mexico airport after the death of El Mencho, one of the country's most powerful cartel leaders.
The most important thing at this moment is to guarantee peace and safety of all
the
population.
The Mexican army says the 59-year-old was captured on Sunday in the state of
59.
Jalisco and died while on an airlift to Mexico City. Cartel members responded with arson attacks, prompting the State Department to issue a shelter-in-place warning for Americans in Puerto Vallarta and the surrounding area.
To the extent possible, I am doing that, other than heading out to try to find food or just little things like that.
The White House says the U.S. provided intelligence support for the military operation. President Trump has been pressuring Mexico to crack down on drug cartels and threatening possible military action if the country
he want to take those cartel
act.
people out.
Mencho was a leader of the new generation.
And Trump trying to get rid of poverty altogether. He definitely got it in for these cartel guys.
Bringing tremendous amounts of methamphetamine, cocaine, fentanyl, heroin.
Trump hate that, boy.
Several airlines have canceled flights to popular tourist spots in the region because of the unrest. And experts say the security situation on the ground could get worse before it gets better.
With El Mencho being taken out, all these leaders of these smaller cartels are all going to try and vie for that top dog spot.
Mexican officials say dozens of people were killed in the violence, including at least 25 members of the country's National Guard. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
They want the war.
All right, thank you so much for that, Mike.
Yeah, a little mini war going on.
Coming in as El Mencho was the boss of one of the fastest growing criminal organizations and networks in Mexico, known for trafficking fentanyl, methamphetamine, and cocaine to the United States and staging brazen attacks against government officials. Let's discuss this more here online now from Fox, the details of what we know that transpired in Mexico over the weekend. We're going to be joined right now here by Reuters chief correspondent in Mexico and Latin America, Emily Green. Emily, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. And obviously, this is a major international story with major implications.
Don't boss up like that over here.
That the violence will continue. Are there concerns out there, and how likely may that be?
I think there are concerns that violence could continue. It's very
unclear
what's going to happen. It's a fluid situation.
That's a big shake-up.
As you saw yesterday, there was enormous amounts of retaliatory attacks across the country, from the U.S.-Mexico border all the way down south to the Mexico-Guatemala border. I think that is the big question for Mexican authorities, and what we're going to see going forward. Right now, things have calmed down a lot compared to yesterday. And so the question is, what are we going to see?
Yeah, there's the big question out there for so many people. And of course, 73 people dead, including the notorious leader, El Mencho. Who exactly is this individual?
73? I didn't know that was that many.
The most wanted cartel leader in Mexico. He was the head of the Jalisco New Generation cartel. He had a $15 million bounty on his head. And so he was sought after by years by Mexican and U.S. authorities. He was the mastermind of enormous acts of violence across the country, and just the mastermind of this criminal enterprise. And so the fact that the Mexican authorities brought him down is a massive win for the government of President Claudia Sheinbaum.
Yeah, that's so true. And obviously, U.S. intelligence potentially also aiding in this development.
Sounds like some political stuff to me.
States, how are they involved?
So we did see that. We saw that the Mexican authorities banked.
Yeah, it seems like there's some political stuff right here. And then Mexican president, it looked like she's trying to get some votes for taking this guy down. You know, these people that be want to get votes and all that stuff, they go get these so-called most wanted people and take them down. They use that as their political thing. You know, I took down this big dangerous person. But if you listen to what they said, it took y'all some years to catch up with this guy. When it's time to get them votes and all that stuff, y'all go get these so-called leaders or whatever, and y'all start using that in y'all political campaigns. That's what it sounds like to me. But anyway, let's get some more going on here. Let's listen.
Counterparts for information. It's not entirely clear what that can look like. The Mexican authorities say there were absolutely no American boots on the ground, but that they were aided by information, by technology, in terms of capturing El Mencho, and of course El Mencho was killed during that operation.
And what comes next? We talk about concern over safety, and we saw it yesterday in the killing
there. They're gonna be jogging for position.
We saw the different car blockades. We saw smoke rising from Jalisco. What was the aftermath? What were those impacts?
You saw, at least in Puerto Vallarta, which is a huge tourist hotspot, we saw thousands of tourists stranded in their hotels. We saw flights were canceled. People were not leaving their houses. I mean, they were scared. And so I think
that's power.
A real sense of fear, a real sense of concern that this could spiral out of control. But especially in tourist hotspots like Puerto Vallarta, where you just saw the city entirely paralyzed, the beaches were emptied out. Someone described it to me as a little bit
they shut down the beach.
Right after COVID, you know, that
shut
level
down the
of
airport.
emptiness on the streets.
What is the Mexican government doing to ease some of those concerns, to get tourists in or out?
Yeah, obviously our government didn't do nothing. They went right to war with y'all.
This is breaking news. I just saw this announcement that they are sending thousands of troops to.
Yeah, as soon as they military pulled up there, that El Mencho and his guys, they started firing on those guys. So obviously they not scared of y'all military. They like bring the funk. So yeah, they're gonna load it down with with military folks. Let's go.
The area of Jalisco, Guadalajara, to try and bring sort of safety to the streets. So you're going to see a huge deployment of the military, and this is especially true in light of the World Cup that we're going to see in 4 months. I mean, Guadalajara is one of the sites where we're going to see games, and so it's of utmost importance to the Mexican government to make sure that these sites are safe, that they're peaceful.
Yeah, and you mentioned potentially that development about boots on the ground, portions of
deep. Yeah, that's deep right there. I mean, yeah, they're gonna send more military down there, and like the lady said, they got some events going on, and especially when you got these world type of events, you gotta make sure your company, I mean, the people that visit your country be safe. But them cartel guys, they start firing on y'all military off the top. They said they killed about 25 of y'all military guys. Altogether, 70-something people passed away. And then they set the city on fire. I mean, just took over the city. That's power. But again, I still think that this Mexican president probably using this situation to get votes. And I think all presidents do that. They got to do this one big thing, make sure they make it look like they done solve some type of crime or some major figure. And I can guarantee you this situation will be brought up in that woman's campaign the next time she run up a re-election or something like that. Stories like this do affect my community because so many people live off this trade. Tonight on GPTV1 Uncut, it's been a good one. It's been a good one. It's a real deep situation, and this just lit my notifications up, really, with both these stories. But the Lil Poppa story, I just couldn't get that off my mind. Even though it broke like a few days ago, that's just a real deep situation that I speak a lot about on this live stream on GPTV1. I always stress mental health because I get the therapy myself and I actually love it. And it teaches me so much about people and what to avoid when it comes to people. And that's why I avoid so many people. Even with doing this live stream, you know, people be leaving their comments. They be trying to figure out who I am and why you off screen. And sometimes I be glad I am off screen. And some of these people come in this chat like they want to know who you are. They done got stirred up by these stories and all that. But they never really get that far. You know, I don't be responding. A lot of comments don't even make it to be seen. Sometimes it's a waste of time to leave like a negative comment on this channel because they hardly ever make the day of light. So it's like a waste of time. And a lot of this information comes from official news reports. But we get overly emotional for sure. What we talked about tonight sits on two ends of the same spectrum. Lil Poppa's death reminds us how fragile life is, how much pressure young men carry, and how badly we need real conversations about mental health. Not hashtags, not slogans, but real support. And Mencho's fall shows us how fragile entire systems are, how one man's death can shift the balance of power across borders, across governments, across economies. These aren't isolated stories. They're reflections of the world we're living in, a world where people are breaking, institutions are breaking, and the consequences hit all of us. If you take anything from tonight, let it be this. Pay attention to the people around you and to the forces shaping the world beyond you. If you want the deeper story, the real mechanics behind the border war, the cartels, the politics, the power, watch Shadow Empire. That's what we break down what's really happening behind the headlines. And if tonight's conversation meant something to you, hit like, drop a comment, and share this stream. It helps the channel, but more importantly, to keep these conversations alive.